It's really important that you learn your habits so that you can break them when it really matters. Here's an example. One friend of mine that I was producing, his style is a 4-chord rotation or 4-chord rotation. So, G, C, A minor, D, G, C, A minor, D. And the next song, change, singing over the top of that, change. And everything he would just automatically just go there. Now it's cool once, but you've now got this is what I do. And you don't even know you're doing it. It's just what you're comfortable with. Sometimes it's you play a chord, then you sing. Then you play a chord, then you sing. Then you play a chord, then you sing. Whatever that pattern is. Some people their melody will just be the same melody as maybe the last song because they're kind of comfortable in that register. So what you really need to do is record yourself and go, what do I do? What are my patterns? And then break them. And we talked about this a little bit. This could be for that person that goes chord, sing, ring, and then it was this, ring, and then it was that, ring, and then it was another thing, ring. So you identify, you go, oh man, I do that.
Laundry list phrasing.
Right, I do that. Okay. How do I change that up? Maybe I sing on the downbeat instead of the hesitated vocal line. So instead of ring something, it's something, chord. Now it's changing. And now you've broken your pattern. You'd be amazed when you break that pattern, how your writing changes because you become aware of, oh man, I always do that. And then now you've got a new ingredient to put in your dish, so to speak. And it changes the way you write. And all of a sudden there's more colors to your writing. And now maybe anticipate the chord. Well, I was chord, and then I was another chord, and then I'm a third chord. Now,
right.
Let's break it up again. Well, I get in this chord, and then change chord, and then change chord, and then a lot of the songs that I've done, Indian music, for example, very drone-based. So if you're used to writing over chord changes, then you're going to have a real hard time because it just goes. Right. Now you got to build off of that. The world,
like bagpipes, right? I mean,
exactly. The world's your oyster.
That's sort of that root.
But you're not going to get all these chord changes to have as a crutch. So,
right.
So there's a pattern. Maybe I'm a 4-chord guy in verses. Well, make yourself do an entire verse with 1 chord. Just do it. Force yourself. And you'll realize, holy cow, there's a lot more that I could be doing with my melody instead of relying on the chords to be my movement. And then, between placement of your vocal lines, length of chords, patterns of chords, find out what it is that you do that is just like an easy trap that you fall into every time you start to write a song. And just do it different. You will be blown away at how your writing grows. Mostly it's really learning the habit that you would normally do. The more you write, the more you form habits. And so you're going to have to either expand your skill sets and your options, your bag of tricks, so to speak, and experiment with them. A lot of writers that I worked with always started a chorus either building into it on the beat or paused after. A lot of metal singers like to pause after, like don't and I'm singing now, versus building up to it and then right on the downbeat of the chorus hitting your hook. And then a lot of country songs, well, now I'm walking. There's your anticipated vocal line. They all work great. My point is, don't always do one every time. And if you mix it up, and if you, as you're writing, you try the different things, it's going to open up the creative pathways. And all of a sudden, you're going to get more momentum and just keep on moving.
I also think about the number of syllables. There's a certain art to what I call the rambling, Lisa Loeb type, and then the real long drawn out stuff too. Nights in White Satin, and I Love You, but it's still 8 bars long.
Right.
Do you tend to be a rambling, or do you tend to, be more of a fewer syllables and do the opposite there as well?
Yeah. Along those lines, we come back to know your audience. Mm-hmm. I've done some writing where I go back to my hard rock days where you drag those words out and you hit a note and you drag it out. Now, what if English isn't your first language? That's hard to necessarily decipher how many words were in there and what were the words. And so working with some producers from overseas when I first got into world music and global music and in dealing with these international audiences, they made it very clear to me that I need to either over-enunciate so that non-English first language audience would understand what I'm saying, or I need to shorten up the syllables, as you were saying. Instead of the word I being a full bar, sometimes it's just got to be I. And now that audience knows what you're saying. So know your habits and then adjust them to the listener as well. Find that habit. I was singing like a Western guy singing to an English only audience. And it's my habit to sing that certain way because it's my power zone and it feels good, but it didn't work for where I was trying to sell the song, so to speak.